everybody. We are so excited for our webinar this evening. We are doing a boards and commissions training, and I am so excited for it. We have been doing these national webinar series um, since about last summer now, and we are going to get ready in just a few seconds. Okay. I'm not sure why our presenters went away for a quick second, but we will find out. And we will get them right back on. That was fun. There's always good technical glitches when you do webinars across the country. There they are. Everybody is back. Amazing. um, let's just make sure our facilitator is ready to go. Awesome. Okay, so hi everybody. I am Sarah Guillermo. I'm the Chief Program Officer for Ignite, and I'm so excited for the webinar that we're doing the second one this month on boards and commissions, how to get appointed and how to get on one. So I'm going to turn it over to our fellow in Southern California, Tiffany Boyd, who's going to facilitate our conversation this evening.
Okay, yes. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us. So we're gonna, I'm gonna go ahead and introduce our two presenters, which is Maya Whitaker and Brooke Lopez. I'll do a brief bio of them. They are both serving on boards and commissions. I'm also going through a board and commission training as well in the Inland Empire as well to kind of help. I'm in a cohort with a bunch of other people trying to work together to get appointed to a board and commission and going through the training. So first, I'll introduce Brooke. So she's currently a student at University of Texas, Dallas. She majors in public affairs and geography. And so she was sparked with local politics and governments through working with a congresswoman on a state bill. And she also is one of the youngest members. So through her work with the congresswoman, she ran for Wiley City Council at the age of 18 and held an appointed office for her hometown on the Wiley Public Arts Advisory Board by the age of 19 as the youngest member. She hopes to attend University of Texas Law School after graduation from UT Dallas in December 2017, and she also holds a part-time job as a facilitator for Ignite National at the Brookhaven Early College High School. And she, and then I'll just leave it right there. And Maya Whitaker is the program director for the Bay Area Urban Debate League, a nonprofit that helps teach youth throughout the Bay Area for policy debate and is an alumni to the Ignite program. She attended San Francisco State University, and Maya launched the first San Francisco State University Ignite cohort. Maya's been involved in her community outreach, joining the Oakland Civilian Review Board as a commissioner in 2015. In January 2017, Maya was able to help the mayor of Oakland, Libby Schaaf, choose Ann Kirkpatrick, the chief of police. And as an Oakland native, police violence and youth empowerment are some of the biggest items on her agenda. Maya's currently in Emerge, California 2017, preparing to run for her local office in 2018. So I'll first get started with a question for both of you. And so both of you have been involved with Ignite in a number of different capacities. Can you tell us about your different experiences that inspired you to join a commission or board that you currently serve on?
Who wants to go first?
I guess you, Maya.
Doesn't matter. Okay. How I got on the commission. So my interest in the commission, well, my interest in politics has not been one of like a regular cookie cutter of what you're supposed to do. It's kind of gone by what was happening in the community and being responsive to that and finding out how do we get answers for what we were seeking. So I'm from Oakland. I'm from East Oakland to be exact. In 2015, one of my friends was killed while running from Oakland police. That sparked my interest in what happened with his case. I reached out to the people who I know in city government and asked them, where do I get involved? I was introduced into commissions, into where, if you look at Oakland's website, you will see there's a whole host of commissions. I learned if you care about something, usually somebody else does too. And you can find like-minded people on these commissions. So I applied. I asked the mayor to tell people that I was a good person to be on that, OPD board, and I really had an interest in learning. And then within a week, I had received that I was going to be allowed to be on that board. And I served on the Oakland Police Review Board up until its dismantling last year with Measure LL passing. And it's just been a great experience of learning and, following that question.
Okay. And then Brooke, same question. So I'll repeat it if you need me to. So I'm just saying, like, so you are involved in Ignite in a different capacity. So just tell me about your different experiences that inspired you to join the Public Arts Advisory Board. No. Can people hear her?
No.
Now can you hear me?
Yes.
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 Okay, I'm sorry if there's going to be a little bit of feedback on here. I'll try to keep my volume down so you guys can't hear. So I got involved with Ignite when right after my best friend also passed away. He was murdered by two kids we went to school with in 2012 when I was a sophomore in high school. I didn't quite know what to do. I wasn't sure. I had all these passions and these wants to make a change to what happened and, prevent something like that happening in the future. I didn't know where to go with it, though. I was young and people didn't take me as seriously. So I went to YWPL, which at the time, it was the first year that Ignite and Running Start decided to work together. And YWPL is a Young Women's Political Leadership Conference. So girls from across the nation get to come, high school girls, and they talk about their passions, what they're going to do, what the next step is. And from there, I realized I wanted to run for office. I felt really empowered to do so. I wanted to make a change to my city. I ran for office when I was 18 after working with my congresswoman on a law that was in my friend Nahum's honor. And after I ran for office, I didn't win. It was kind of a difficult race. But from there, I spoke with my local city government and I said, look, I still want to get back to the city even though I wasn't elected. I want to grow myself as a professional, as an individual. How can I help give back? Well, at the time, I was about to turn 19. On my birthday, I actually got sworn in to my board. And it wasn't the original one I picked, I'll be honest. I originally wanted to be on zoning and ordinances, but they told me, you're too young. You're not old enough to do this. How are we you don't pay taxes. How would you get to make decisions about the city? Which, people have their opinions. But I still wanted to give back on a citywide level. So Public Arts Advisory Board said, look, we will take you, we'll mentor you. And now at 20 years old, I'm the vice chair of the board. And it's been an amazing experience. Pretty much I got all of my confidence to want to go out and serve my city from that conference I had with Ignite and Running Start.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to throw it back to Maya. And so, Maya, you recently sat on the hiring team for Oakland's newest police chief. Can you share a bit about your experience serving as the youngest person? So both of you guys are talking about being the youngest person. So how about your experience, Maya, as the one for hiring such a high position as the Oakland's police chief?
So I was selected on being a part of that panel. I was by the mayor of Oakland. It was me, along with two other community members, one from our Latino demographic and another that ran the ceasefire operations, in which ceasefire is a gang operation in Oakland in which they use to prevent gun violence in Oakland. So being a youth that used to hang among those that were the high risk group and able to communicate what's on in that community was very essential in helping choose a police chief. A police chief is who dictates the tone for how officers interact with that community. So being somebody that comes from there, that was with those kids, and most likely to be the ones that interact with officers, is very essential to be on that table. Listen to the generational versions of what is a chief of police and what are their, intentions for Oakland. Oakland has a history for being revolutionaries, for strong distrust of police in our community. So whoever took that lead, I needed them to understand that they were not walking in the rainbows, and that even though I was on that table, I didn't trust them. And it's okay to be honest about how you feel. If anything, you need to be honest because you don't want to rubber stamp something that will hurt your community. That's not a thing. So being able to be a part of that panel, sit there, help choose Chief Kirkpatrick, welcome her into my community, and still this conversation is still going on. She's only been sworn in for less than a month, and people are still asking for meetings with her right now to continue that conversation. So although it did open the door to show her I'm a stakeholder and my community wants to be heard, do trust that that is only the beginning, and you need to make that clear anytime you go into a meeting like that or anything. Because we are young, they think that it's a joke, but you can only prove that with your experience and knowing what you know. So it was interesting. It was eye-opening. It was a big stake for my city, for my peers, for my children who I work with in my debate program, to just see everything that we have been policy debating about was very real in how we implement it, pretty much. Like, you need to be at that table no matter what. And you need to make the stakeholders in your community understand that you deserve, you will, and you're going to be at the table. Like,
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so Brooke, can you tell us a little bit more about your application process and the steps that you took to get on the Arts Commission? So I know that you talked a little bit about that, that it was kind of spurred out of your work with the Congresswoman, but can you just elaborate as far as the application process?
Sure. So whenever I didn't originally go in knowing I wanted to be on a board commission. I applied for it the same time I applied to put my name on the ballot for city council, which was kind of shocking because, I was just like, I want to give back. I want to do what I can. And I just registered to vote, so I'm going to do it right after I turned 18. So I had almost forgotten about it while I was, doing my campaign, while I was working with that. And then after the campaign ended, I got an email that said, look, we know you didn't win your race, but we still would like to offer you the opportunity to interview with our city council members about what you can give back. So the application process was really simple, and I had no idea. And it was also very simple for city council in terms that you don't have to have any qualifications to be on a board, at least in the state of Texas. The only qualifications you have to have are to be a registered voter. And so that means either about 17, about to be 18, or 18, because you can register a little early here in Texas. And you had to live in the city limits for at least a year. And of course, I grew up here, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. I'm going to apply for it. My application process was fairly simple. However, I think my pride took a little bit of a hit, and I'll just be honest, because I appreciate Ignite and everything they've done, so I can be honest with the girls who are listening. It was hard having to look in the face of the woman who beat me for the city council position and still have to be interviewed by her for this board and commission position. But I knew in the end, all of us had the same goal of helping our city. So I was able to put that aside, and you go through an interview process, and then boom, they ask you to come and swear in. You swear in, you spend a full day up at City Hall learning about what you're going to do, how you're going to give back. And now being on a board and commission, we have bi-monthly meetings that we attend.
Okay. Oh, wow. So this is going to be to both of you, and then we're going to open it up because I'm sure the mini audience that we do have probably tons of questions for you all. But given your experience on the board, on your board or commission, what is your next political leadership? What's your next step in political leadership, and what advice do you have for the young women here today who are thinking about their next step? And I'll give it to Maya, then you can chime in, Brooke.
What's the next step?
Yeah, what is your next
recently,
step?
as of December, I was accepted into Emerge. Emerge is a women's group that gets them ready to run for office. So women like Kamala Harris, Libby Schaaf, Shakti Gonzalez, a lot of the women I was connecting with started saying that they were all in Emerge. So I was accepted into Emerge. And now in April, I'll be finishing Emerge. And my next grand scheme is to run for local office in Oakland. I mean, no better time than now. I've always said I wanted to be in politics, and there is no age limit, as Brooke kept saying. They have age limits, so if I meet the age limit by law, then I can do it. And that's how you guys should think about it. Like, there is no time for when you're an adult. I'm a mother. I have a 4-year-old. I graduated from college already. So what about me doesn't make me an adult to do it? And I run a full-time program. So exactly. So that's why I'm like, you can't take everybody's advice for your own personal life. Think of this, like I told the last class, like monkey bars. Like everybody you're meeting in these circles all interact with each other. Like Emily's List, Emerge, Ignite, they're all having ongoing conversations with each other. You have to be smart enough to connect it and know what is that conversation. If you're interested in politics, these are the women that will help you run for office. And you're going to need that circle. Nobody knows how great you are unless you tell them. So those are my goals with what's next in Oakland is our elections are in 2018. I plan to be graduating from Emerge and I'm off to the races, literally.
Hey, okay, Brooke.
So for me, I have to take kind of a break in terms of waiting for the next time I plan to run. I originally was going to run again this past election cycle for city council, run again, being that I've been involved, but because I'm going to be going to UT Law School, and then from there, Harvard's public policy, yay, public policy university or school up in Massachusetts, I'm going to have to take a break just because whenever you run for office, you have to live in the area that you're going to run for and make sure your face is seen, make sure people know who you are. And although I could run in my hometown again, I would also have to give a 3-year commitment to whatever term that I choose to hold. So something we talked about last night at a Ignite reception that I attended with our founder, Ann Moses, and a couple other student leaders was that we heard from a city councilwoman who is in DeSoto, which is a larger city than where I ran, and she said that you need to make sure you run in an area where you know you're going to be stationed in, because you have to make sure you give that commitment back to your city wherever you choose to run. You have to be there for your term set. You have to be there for, after your term, if you want to run again, for a second term, or if you want to run for mayor after you've served on council, or even in the state level, you have to make sure you're staying where you're going to run and make yourself about a base and a foundation. So for me, I'm going to be waiting a little bit till I run again, but hopefully coming back with a law degree and a master's, it'll be a little bit easier for me.
Wow, y'all are some rock stars. Goodness gracious. Okay, we're gonna put up a slide of tips real quick, and you can just we'll alternate from Brooke. You can say number 1, and Maya just to read the slide out loud. If you do have anything to add to the tips that were provided, feel free. But we do have 5 just small tips for the women who are watching.
So, instead of starting with number 1, I'm going to shoot number 2 because I wrote it down and it's like the one that I can speak to the most.
Okay.
If you're looking at your screen right now, number 2 says, don't be scared to ask questions. So pretty much the only way that I even found out what a board and commission was, the only way I even knew how to apply was to make sure that I went and I asked questions. Even if I was afraid that people would look at me like I was young or inexperienced, this is the only way to be able to figure out anything. And it ended up working in my favor because when you ask questions and you get the answer you're looking for, you look absolutely more put together than if you go in feeling confident but not knowing what you want to know. If you go in asking what you want to know, you'll get out what you need to know. So yeah, that was definitely something really important in terms of joining a board commission. If you're 18 and you want to join one, reach out to your city secretary. That's what they're there for, to answer everyone's questions, to help guide you in certain directions, and you get a friend out of it.
Amazing. You want to pick one, Maya?
So for crashing your local meetings, I didn't crash any meetings. I honestly went on Oakland's website and for like the city council positions and looked up specifically boards and looked at who had open seats available. That's the one strategy I did use. What was interesting to me. So when I did apply, that I knew, I was already interested to want to learn this stuff and would do a good job with. And 2, who already had seats open. So one thing you could always use being young, they always want you to come and learn. They think we're really dumb. So when you apply for stuff like this and say, like, I'm interested as a youth from your community to learn, how can they tell you no? You gonna tell a youth no? Then when I'm crazy, you're gonna say I'm crazy for no reason. So it's like all plugged into each other. You gotta kind of like in the words of where I'm from, like you have to learn how to finesse every situation to your favor. Like you're the gold, and they need to know that they need to know what you bring to the table. They need to know what you know, how your community entrusts in you, and how important that is. Like, and another one I would say is know the issues that impact your community. So it's fun to talk to your friends and stuff, but they don't know anything either. That's why they're your friends. You need to talk to people outside of your comfort zone. So like the reason me and Mayor Schaff are so good, 17, I met her for coffee at a local coffee house. How many people do that? Nobody. So of course I stood out to her as somebody that got her attention. I'm a little black girl from East Oakland who really, really wants to be in politics. Help me. How can you say no? So you have to present your own expectations and come into these situations. Like, I mean, it's the honesty of whatever's interesting to you and your community, you get out there in front of it. Like, there's nobody going to bring it to you. They're not going to bring it to you. So the way politics works is either you get with it or get ran over by it. And the sooner you figure that out, the easier it'll be. Stop thinking that it's flowers. It's not. It's hard. It's gonna get easier as you get into it though. Like these boards, you start having conversations, you start learning your education, you research it, and you need to be able to debate it. That's why policy is so important. Do you understand it?
Yeah, and I'm just gonna chime in really quickly too,
More?
because what
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. What Maya had said, talking about that she, looked at term limits and stuff like that, that's very easy. And just like how Brooke talked about, your city secretary, or it could be called a city clerk, they're the ones that can like inform you about like what term limits there are, or like the application process for getting on boards and stuff like that. So they kind of tie in both of what Brooke and Maya said, kind of tie in together as far as the number 5, which is talking about identifying the board or the commission of the city or county that you want. Because just like Brooke had just said, talking about, she wants to be established in that, if you have to be a resident, then when you look at, the boards and commission that you're interested in, are you in that district? Are you eligible, kind of? Do you qualify? So those are 2 important things. And then she also hit on the number 4, which was that, know the issues that impact your community, because that's how she was able to speak with the mayor and then speak about the issues that she grew up with. And then that's why she was appointed to the city Oakland chief police review, because that she knew about those issues, and she had that, she knew about the trust or mistrust of the police with the residents itself. And so it kind of connects as well. So I think we did hit on all of them, all 5. So at this point, we will open it up to the questions that are out there. I think I see one from, I'm so sorry, I apologize for mispronouncing your name, Hyacinth Paul. So hers was, how do you get information on what boards or commission people are looking for? Is that the first question? I can't tell if that's the first question.
Yeah, that is the first question.
Yeah.
It is. Okay. So how do you get the information? So you want to talk about that again, Brooke?
Yeah, so the way that I did it, of course, just like Maya did also, I looked on the website, what was needed, what could I fill in, and then any other questions that I had, I directed them at, city clerk, city secretary, someone who is set in that position to answer your questions. And it goes very simply from there. They're very willing to help you. And if they're not, then you go straight to the mayor or someone else who's above the city secretary and ask them for help as well.
I agree with Brooke. It's their job to help you. So know that when you're going into there, there's nothing to be afraid of. Their job is to give you information. So the same way you expect McDonald's to get your order right is the same way all my government officials to know their information. So when you come in there, you're supposed to give me this answer, and I know that it makes people also responsive to you. You got to be accountable. So I agree with Brooke of like, go to your city officials, utilize them. That is their job. Their job is information and resourceful. Like,
Okay.
what other question?
Cool.
Are we?
Yeah, so Vanna Lee, she asked she told y'all that you both are inspiring, which is very true. But she also said, what are the qualifications city governments are looking for in regards to commissioners? And I think that kind of is relevant to each city ordinances and each commission themselves. But do you guys have more insight? That's my take from what I've learned so far in my program is that there are different qualifications, different things in each city, each county.
Different qualifications, different streams for everything. For me to be on the Oakland Police Review Board, of course, they offer on the job kind of commissioner training. So once they accept you, they shoot you a whole bunch of emails on how to get trained, caught up. They gave me a booklet to read. They gave me access to learn all the information I needed to be informed on what we were doing. So they definitely don't leave you in the dark. Again, they realize that you're young. What experience will you have? So don't come in there thinking that I'm supposed to know everything. Humble yourself. You're not supposed to know nothing. And people are more willing to help you when you say, I have no clue what that word means. Help me. Like, I want to be on this. So there is no qualifications except coming with an open mind and being optimistic to learning some stuff. And going for it. That's it.
Awesome.
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
that was a great answer. That pretty much summed it up.
Right, Brooke, high five, go for it.
Okay, Megan, she asked, what do you wish you knew prior to serving on the board or commission?
I wish I knew that even though the people I serve with may be twice my age does not always correlate with wisdom. It can correlate with experience. You can have more experience, but to give a small story, to this day, I have been on this board for 2 years now, and the women on my board don't necessarily like that I'm still in college. They feel like it's that I don't bring as much to the table. And if I wish I knew anything, I wish I would have prepared myself mentally to be stronger, because every day I come in, they call me a different name. Sometimes I'll be Brittany, sometimes I'll be Brenda, sometimes I'll be, I've been called Bianca. They don't want to call me by my name, Brooke. And I've grown to learn that that is nothing I can ever change, and to be stronger than that, because in the end goal, we're all there to help our city. And I don't think that your personal relationship with on your board or anyone else you work with in the future will ever have any impact on the actual end goal you're going to be able to create for whoever you're serving.
Do you have anything to add? Or
Well, my board, I really enjoyed. Because I'm getting ready to run for office, I recently have resigned from the board as of a week ago, honestly. So I still have good relationships with everybody on my board. And for those people that got on my nerves, they never got the joy of knowing that they got on my nerves. I would just really know my stuff. So when I disagree with them, it wasn't coming from, I feel like I don't like you. It was coming because I know my policies and you cannot say stuff like that. So, for example, I had a board member who once said that when officers patrol East Oakland, they should automatically have guns because East Oakland is prone to having more guns. That is against the law. So, having to be able to point out, policies enable injustices to happen, and that when people think like this and they bring it to the table without being countered by people like me who are like, hey, I'm from East Oakland, we all do not have guns. I'm sitting here with you and I don't have a gun. It enlightens everybody in the room. So that's why it's so important that you have, so that your people don't get left out. I can't tell you how many times I went to SF State and I lived in Oakland and people would ask me, gang member? I go to school with you. Do you think I'm in gangs? So, just always think of, you need to be able to counteract these things with facts. The fact is, that's not true. The fact is, black on black crime is not higher than white on white crime. They're the same. Everybody kills everybody. You need to be able with facts to counter things like that of ignorance, so it doesn't hurt your feelings, so that they look really dumb. No adult likes looking dumb, especially by somebody with a fact.
all right.
I'm sorry,
We'll take it to. I know we have lots of questions. Rhiannon Ripley, she asked, did you have a mentor and who were they? And then she also asked, should she wait till her education is done to get out there? Because she's having a hard time to get her foot into local politics because she's still a college student and she wants to represent her community properly. So it's a two question.
I don't think that she has to wait necessarily. Number one thing that I can recommend to you, Rhiannon, if you're listening, is to attend not only city council meetings, but go to your local events. If your city has festivals, if they have concerts, if they have things that their city hosts, go to them and let people know who your face and your name. That way, when you do end up running for office, when they see your name on the sign on a street, they're going to say, oh, I met her at this and I know her. That way, you don't necessarily have to run for office to be involved in your local politics. And as for a mentor, I actually grew up in a really predominantly white town, so with white people. So it was very difficult at being Hispanic and finding a mentor who looked like me, who did the same things I wanted to do. The number one mentor I can always go to, and I know it's really cliche, but my mother. She's pretty much taught me how to be even keel and how to represent myself in a professional way and give back to everybody, no matter what the circumstances are.
That's good. Maya, you want to answer to that, or?
So I'm sorry, I was reading the other questions about mentors, right?
Yeah, did you have a mentor?
With the mentor thing, absolutely. Every person I came across that was talking something about anything that grabbed my interest, I would ask them, what's your card? What's your name? How do I get in contact with you? And a good practice is email them the same week so that it's fresh in your mind as to who you met and that they remember you too. So like one thing about me that people usually remember is I change my hair a lot and I like makeup a lot. And so it's not usually a lot of black girls in the room that look like me. And so being able to email people of, hey, remember that exchange we had? Can I meet up with you to like kind of polish some of the things I know and try to rub off under you? Absolutely. I have multiple mentors from all walks of life. I had Libby Schaff, I had Latifah Simon, I have Maya Dillard, Sarah, the one who's organizing this. I have Sarah, like women from different walks, and Moses, that were all in different places doing different things I learned from. And that's I really learned that women help each other. And that's not a common thing once you get higher up. So cling to those who have like-minded ideals with you, because that's who you're gonna need. Anybody that said something that was like, I liked what you said, or that make me think a little more. I always went up to them and asked them, can I get your number after this? Can I get your cell phone number? Can we go to coffee? They know I didn't have any money. I was in college. I'm a single mother. So they usually pay for it too. So like that was always cool too. You get a meal and you get to learn. Like
Amazing.
so, yeah.
Sierra Lapat, she asked, what do you do on a typical day, or I guess in your commission or in your board?
So the
You can go.
OPD board only met every other Thursday, so it's not a lot of time commitment. Um, so
Okay.
each board is going to have different commitments on times, I would say.
I have to travel with you guys in a second. I'm being kicked out of my room. But to answer that question, generally for the arts board, we meet bi-monthly, so every other week, and we will start off our meeting with an agenda. We talk about items. For the public arts board, we commission art for the city, so we get to see different art pieces and what we want to pay for to be put in the city. And then we also have 2 events every year. So really it's not a huge time commitment to be able to give back to your city. It's just 2 events for a year, and then which you work all day, and then you also have 2 meetings a month. So really it's a fantastic way to be able to give back and not take up a lot of time.
Okay, as she transitions from one room to the next, Audrey asked, she asked, with elections for the most positions being almost 4 years away, how should I start getting ready to run? Is it too early? So like, I guess Maya, you can answer this as you're preparing to run. Is 4 years, how should she be preparing to run? And is 4 years in advance too early?
No, 4 years is perfect. Keep in mind, nobody knows who you are. Like nobody who votes, nobody who's gonna care about your issues knows who you are. So these niggers are about telling how the year of the election and tell everybody to vote for you because nobody knows who you are, what you stand for, or yet have seen you around town. So it's prime time right now to be thinking about what
Oh,
seat am I looking at running for?
oh.
What seat is going to be open? Who can I start talking to in that race? Who is important? Who ran in the last race? How good were they? How close were they in the last race? Like putting like all kinds of stuff. You are building your brand right now. Nobody knows who you are. I can't stress that enough. Even though you're great on Facebook, take it like this. Nobody cares. So your community and your constituents need to know you're making noise for them this 4 years. They need to know you've been facing those strong issues. You are already out here doing things in a positive motion so that they can trust you and put you before a city council person. But if that's not what you're doing, how will they know? So yeah.
Awesome. That was a really good one. Brooke is still transitioning, so I'll just move on to the next one. um, let's see. I have to scroll. Okay, so does gender play a role in how your colleagues treat you? And Louis added on to Rhiannon's question, what is it like to be a woman of color? So how is gender playing a role and race as well? Race and gender together.
I only laugh because me and you met talking about this, so I'm only laughing like that's how we hooked up, like me, you, and Momo. Like,
Right. Hey.
no, I would say I face more stuff being black than being a woman. I think that's first and foremost what they see is I'm a black before I'm a woman, and I'm a black with a whole bunch of tattoos who looks like a constituent of East Oakland. I look like a girl from East Oakland. So I think that is more of a certain people, but again, it goes back to knowing your stuff. When people hear me talk and they see how convinced I am about this and how focused I am, how dare you say something so ignorant like that? And if you think I'm about to play with you and saying something ignorant to me, though I sound friendly. So, I mean, I'm coming
Love
from a
it.
community where I have to be strong. Like, I'm coming from a community where we used to get into physical fights. So I know that nobody in this room can physically harm me. So why am I afraid of them? It's nothing to be afraid of then. So I am coming with everybody in my community who I know needs access to the things that they are the gatekeepers for. So I just keep that in mind. Yes, I'm a black woman, but if anything, I have a special card because I'm a black woman. I get to understand my people more than anybody. I understand what these trickle down economics are. I understand what it looks like to see former presidents and government and how that triggers people in our community. And I think it is empowering to make people face that at the table as who policies hurt us. I am a effect of my graduation district in Oakland. Only 60% of us graduated. I'm one of a small chance that was supposed to make it. So when we make it, yeah, you got to listen to this story because I don't want another kid to go through this. So you have to think of it like that. Like you are not representing just Maya. I'm here for all of the little Mayas, all of the little Mayas who are brown and black and Latino who soon want to be on something like this. So you got to be honest with yourself. Like again, I feel like they see a black girl before they see a woman. They see a black woman walk in the room. They see a black woman with an tattooed on her neck, and I have a host of my dead friends down my arms. So before they even ask me what that is, I feel like they see that, and then when I start talking, that's when I went over the ideology of I'm just like you. I'm very smart. I love to read. I watch Meet the Press. I'm very involved with Russia and Trump. So what's up? Let's talk dialect. What's up? And then they're surprised. Like, oh yeah.
All right. Brooke, so what we're talking about is how is your experience being a woman of color on a commission?
Can you guys hear me?
Hmm.
Yes. Okay. So it
Yeah.
was interesting because when people see me, I don't look Hispanic because my parents are Spaniard, not Mexican. So people don't really realize that I deal with a weird situation where it's hard because I don't necessarily fit in with white people and I also don't fit in fully with Hispanic people. I get kind of discriminated from both ends. It's a little bit weird, but I do fully identify as Hispanic, speak Spanish, things of that nature. The number one thing being a woman of color on my board, even though I don't have color, is because, or is, it's really hard. It's hard. I can't lie. At least in the area that I grew up, um, I was not accepted for being a woman of color. I was put down when I ran for office. People would ask me, "Why should I vote for you because you're brown? Why, why should you be able to lead my community? You don't look like us." And what I gained from that was realizing that there really is no difference between any of us, whether you're white, black, Hispanic, and you want to run for office. It's about what you want to give back to the community, not what you look like, which also plays into gender. I don't think being a woman should prevent me from getting to do anything that a man does or anything that I can give back to my community the way a man can, just as any sort of intersectional qualifier that I have. So it's been difficult, but it was something I was able to learn from. And the one thing I want to leave also with the group that may be listening is that I don't think being white is negative either at all. I think people who are white also deal with different cultures than maybe someone who's Hispanic or someone who's African American might have to deal with. So I think that everyone can bring something to the table.
Okay, thank you so much for that comment. So we're gonna end with one more question from Vanna Lee. She said, "What ideas did you bring to your commission, and how did they materialize?"
In particular, being that I'm on the arts board, it's kind of hard to bring anything new when all we're doing is commissioning art pieces that come to us. But the number one thing that I brought that I really wanted to focus on was making sure that our city had a Women's History Month, and the fact that my city was founded 1887. This past 2 weeks ago, it was the first ever Women's History Month proclamation that my city has ever had in the past 130 years. It was the first time we ever had a Women's History proclamation, and that came out of the Public Arts Advisory Board, which has to do with culture. And being a woman, having a Women's History Month is all culturally based. So I was honored to be able to bring home that proclamation and share in the celebration of the women I live in the city with.
Awesome. Maya?
I need the question again. I'm sorry. I know I was typing that. What did you bring to the commission
Oh,
and how
yeah.
did they materialize? I
Yeah.
brought my youthful perspective. What I learned in being myself on the board is people really have a good insight, like want to love on the youth of Oakland and figure out what's wrong with us. And so I brought that to the table. Like we want to love too, as much as we're screaming, yelling, tearing up your stuff. We just don't know how to say it. And so it's a great, I guess, swap of the intellect too to show like we are constantly developing and learning. And the biggest thing I would tell people is we need access and resources. That's it. You just got to open the door and make sure that we can finance it once we get there. So being on that commission, I felt like I really brought that to show my strengths too, because I do run a nonprofit Bay Area Urban Debate League that teaches kids policy debate, just showing them that when you get on these boards, you know your stuff and you rock with it and you present who you are. You bring you to the table and all of what makes you you, all of East Oakland, all of Oakland, period. You bring that beautiful. So that is what I had learned and brought to the table. And I hope y'all bring your own spice to it too. So yeah.
Sarah?
Awesome. How I love that webinar. I'm like, I took myself off so I could have my own facial reactions. Knowing Maya, I have lots of facial reactions.
Me too.
Yeah. There's a laugh. I had that laugh many moments during this webinar. Brooke, Maya, Tiffany, thank you so much for all the work that you do with Ignite and for sharing your stories and your path to political leadership this evening, and obviously in all the other ways that we ask you to do so through our work with Ignite nationally. Our next webinar is coming up in just a few weeks. It's April 11th, and we are doing a policy webinar on sexual assault on college campuses. Our Ignite alumni, Sophie Karasek from End Rape on College Campuses, is going to help us facilitate and lead that one, and also an individual from Calypso, two of the most leading organizations that are doing some work to end rape on college campuses. So please stay connected. You can find Maya and Brooke on Facebook, and you can also connect with them. I think both of you have LinkedIn profiles that I know of because I think we're connected. So connect through them that way. And just to close, the webinar is getting recorded right now. So it'll be available for you to watch at your leisure as many times as you want in just a few days. So thank you, everybody. Have a good rest of the evening, and we'll see you soon.
Bye, y'all. Good luck.
Bye.